Hi, this is Kevin Kelly at G4. We're going to look at the First Strike DLC map pack for Call of Duty Black Ops. It's the first piece of DLC. You get 4 maps and a new zombie mode, which is, in my opinion, well worth it. Let's take a look at what you get. Berlin Wall. This is probably the most depressing map out of First Strike. It takes place at Checkpoint Charlie, which was the famous dividing line between West and East Berlin during the Cold War. West Berlin, of course, being the sort of free side, and East Berlin being behind the Iron Curtain, communist rule, and two definitely different areas. So you can see the front of Checkpoint Charlie right here, the American flag. And then on the other side is East Berlin. And there's their checkpoint here, which does not quite look as friendly. And they're both ringed by tanks. This whole area is snowy and gray, and it looks kind of, it's ominous and it's foreboding. It's not somewhere you'd want to hang out. There's some life in the buildings, which we'll show you in a minute, but that's about it. This is the neutral zone that separates the two, and it is deadly. You can see blood everywhere on the ground. There are 2 turrets manned by these Gatling guns that will open fire on you as soon as you stray into this zone. This zone shows up as red on your map, so you know not to go in there, but you will not survive. You cannot run across. You can maybe stray on for a few shots and then get off, and otherwise I would not recommend anything to do with the neutral zone. There's 3 paths across. This one's on the end. There's the warning sign that you want to watch out for. There's a narrow one right here in the middle, goes from west to east, and then there's the one back on the starting zone right here at Checkpoint Charlie. All of these cross through, and you won't get fired upon at all if you cross through. These are the sort of checkpoint offices. There's one on either side. There's the East Berlin side. You can duck and go under this hole right here. Enter the buildings. Like most of the other buildings in First Strike, they're dual level. You can go up, and there's a couple of good sniping spots in most buildings. And you can break windows to jump out and shoot from, should you want to. There's a little office up here. There's a window in the back that overlooks part of this map down to the second or third crossover area. We'll go back downstairs here and cross through the back half of the map. There's a boiler room here, or a brewing. Maybe they brew beer here. I think Berghirsch. There's no beer in that word, so I don't know if that's beer, but it looks like beer barrels. I'm going to imagine it's beer anyways, because hey, what's a game about war without a lot of beer? There's also a bar in this map that we'll visit here in a second. But machine presses. This is the dank, depressing East Berlin side of the map until you get to this little tavern over here, which, hey, let's have a drink. And inside is brightly lit, and there's bottles of beer everywhere. This is there are fire escapes on several of these buildings. You can crawl up the outside ladders and snipe from, which are handy. Here we go back into West Berlin. And it's a little cheerier over here. There's a dress shop here, which doesn't look cheery on the inside. It's been cleaned out. There's the name of it there. We can go inside, and you can see they've had a fire sale, I guess, or some fighting, and not a lot of stock left on the shelves. But happy posters, shoes. We're going to go back across to the next building here. Oh, first of all, this is the graffiti. This is the famous Berlin Wall graffiti that was obviously a big identifier with this. It's colorful. You can see on the stark other side there's nothing, but the West Berlin side, tons of period authentic graffiti, which I thought was a nice touch. There's a little music shop on the West German side, Bloom, Bücher and Music, which has a lot of vinyl, and some of these album covers you can actually read, which are kind of funny. I particularly love Der Doktortitel und Freunds mit stark Durch und Ordnung. There's Music Bomb, which looks like that Elvis Presley and Clash vinyl album cover. They got some neon signs around, which are nice. This building also has an upstairs you can go to, and they really love their records here in West Berlin. This is a sniping spot. You can watch that narrow crossover area from East Berlin. It doesn't offer too much of a vantage point. I'll go out here, and the last building on the West Berlin side is an apothecary. It's a little pharmacy that you can actually go into, and we'll take a look at that here. But again, here's the neutral zone. Please keep in mind of this blood. It's deadly. Those towers, I wish you could access. You can't control the towers; they're uncontrollable. But this is this is Berlin Wall, and it's a depressing city, as you can see here. It's almost like Charles Dickens' London, but it's a nice mid-sized map. The neutral zone kind of adds a neat element, but it doesn't come into play too often because you know from the outset to avoid it, and it shows up as red on your map, so you won't be dying too often in there. I hope.